For some reason, it won't let me do the landscape. It wants me to constantly do the awful portrait mode, which is really annoying because in portrait mode, you don't really get to see the views that I get to see. Go figure. Wonderful YouTube. Hello, everybody. I have a iPad here where I don't have to look at constantly at the screen up there. I should be able to receive said comments via the iPad. Let's see. Oh, there I am. I really do hate portrait mode. It's good for TikTok, but YouTube it's not so good for. It's good for shush. Stop. Pause. Just want the comments, not to see myself. Pop out chat. Hello and good morning from Los Angeles, says Dr. Hugo Cat. Hello, Dr. Hugo Cat from Los Angeles. What's the weather like there where you are, mate? One would assume sunny. I lived in Santa Monica for 2 years, and every day was sunny. That's going back to before September the 11th. I'll tell you that's gone back to 1999. I was there. I love sunny Los Angeles. I do like Los Angeles a lot. I think it's changed though. I think it would be different if I was to go back there now. Let me move this, man. It's only ducks. There were some ducks earlier on. Oh, the sun's coming out. Put my sunglasses on. But hello from LA. Sunny LA. What brought you to the channel, mate? What brought you to the channel? Discuss with the group. Huge thanks for all the amazing uploads, says the doctor from Los Angeles. Thank you, Doc, for saying so. I appreciate you watching. Oh, the wind's picked up. See the trees blowing. If I was to flip that. See the trees? Yeah, I really appreciate viewers from elsewhere in the world. I've got this little gimbal thing here. Let's do that so you can kind of see the trees blowing there. Yeah, I really appreciate it. It's lovely that you've come to my channel from all the way away in Los Angeles, so I appreciate that, and you're very welcome. And please do stay and enjoy the rest of the content. This hopefully is won't be the end of my content. Thank God. I'm not saying I do these streams for just one person, because I don't. But to see Old School Full in the chat is very important to me. It's very important that he makes every live stream, despite how weak I've been at streaming. No, I love that. I love you, mate. How are you? Chalk ices. Get your lovely chalk ices, says Old School Full. Should we put it back on me, or are you happy with that? I reckon you're probably more happier with the nature than my ugly face. And I am drinking a beer. Let me just drink some of the beer. Let me just get this beer down me. It is, if anyone's wondering, Brewdog Hazy Jane Tropical. It's very nice. It's very nice. Oh, that's nice. Yes, that's nice. There we go. Put it back on me for a bit. Oh, no, that's like, there we go. Look at that. We're going to get the sunset here, guys. It's going to go bing and disappear behind me, and then that's when the end of the stream will be, unless people get sick of me beforehand in this awful portrait mode, which I can't fathom. I can't. As soon as I do this, watch this. As soon as I do this. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. And then it will come back on again. Very annoying. Very annoying. I maybe have to tweak something in the settings before I start. Don't know. I rarely do streams on the phone, but it was just easier today. Julie Ash. Lovely Julie. Lovely Julie. Evening, Julie. Big round for Julie. Another long-time supporter of the channel. We do love Julie. Everyone loves Julie. Everyone loves Julie. Thanks for joining, Julie. How are you? How was your week? The sun's going in. How was your week, Judy? How was your week, old school fool? Uh, Doc, huge thanks for all the amazing. Just reading comments there, and I should be reading them down here. I'm hoping that the signal's holding. I am on the Starlink. The Starlink is just out of shot, just over there. So it should hold up, but sometimes it does dip in and out a bit. I am in the middle of nowhere, so. Let's make sure. Somebody drop me a message quickly. Make sure that they're reading me loud and clear. It's as clear as an iPhone could be. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Julie. Loud and clear. Fantastic. Yeah, when the wind picks up, it sometimes hits the microphone. I've got I do actually have a clip-on mic. I can kind of clip here, and it will go straight into the phone. But if I wanted to, and I fiddle around with the phone and I'll flick it around. I'm not like that because it won't accept it. But when I flick it around and you can get a kind of idea where I am and where I am all by myself. I wanna be all by myself. I am all by myself, whether I wanted to be or not. I am. Glad you're on the move again, says old school fool. It is beautiful, Julie, and yes, I am glad to be moving again, mate. It's been it's just I don't even want to. I've had to fight for something, and I have to when I zone in. Finally, development has begun on my mum's property, which I am selling, which is I think been holding it back to sell. Because but then again, it's politics are holding it back, and the fact that this country is boo, and everyone's a little bit hesitant in spending money. So there is a number of factors, but I'm pretty sure one of them was the fact that it looked like a rubbish tip outside my mum's house. Beautiful house inside, beautiful on the outside. But in the immediate area, it's like a bomb site. And it's taken me 5 months to get the park management off their asses and fix it, regardless of the fact there are a few other issues. So yeah, it's been one of those. It was a winter. It took up my whole winter. I was up and down. I was going up and down every 3 weeks. I also did some work for Waitrose. I was doing some work for Waitrose as well. So I've I felt that I'd forgotten what this lifestyle was like because I got back to the wharf in November last year, and I only really left this week. It was stupid. I planned to leave the 1st of March, but it didn't make sense for me to go further north while I was still going up and down to Devon, going further away to where I needed to be. So to answer your question, yes, I am bloody relieved to be out of the wharf. Nice enough wharf, and I love John at North Kilworth Wharf. Love him bits. But I'm not for the whole point of this lifestyle is just to get out and keep moving and travel, the whole point of it. So when you just began to feel like I was renting a house. That's what it began to feel like again. I was like living in a flat, except it's 47-foot long flat. Yeah, so it's good. Old school fool. I did wonder how that was going. Yeah, Julie, it's really boring stuff. It's just really boring. I've never sold a house before. Well, it's not a house, it's a park home. And I've certainly never tried selling a park home during a downturn in the economy, and it's a buyer's market. So I've had to come down the price a bit. I'm happy to if it's sold tomorrow at the price it's on now, I'd be happy. I certainly wouldn't be happy if I've got to reduce it anymore. It's my pension, and that's it. It's my pension. There's nothing else but my pension there. My security for so I don't have a pension. So I'm a freelance dickhead. You know, I don't have company pensions. Should have. Did have a pension going for about 6 years when I was in my 20s, but that was about it. That was when I was probably the most responsible because I was under the watch of my dad, who would always make sure I did the right thing. I'm not saying that since Dad's died, I do the wrong things, but I'd probably say 70% of the mistakes I make, my dad, had he been alive, would have been like, you know, the guidance of a good father is very important in life. It is beautiful here, Julie. It's so quiet. It's lovely, dude. You should have shouted me. I'd have helped clean up. Oh, mate, I would have. Yeah, you're not that far away, really, are you? Jump in the car. I still have the Peugeot. I still have my 205. Passed its MOT just 2 weeks ago when I was back in Devon, making sure everything was fine. And I went back to Devon, and I was, I've had a bit of work done on it over the last year. Wear and tear, nothing much. It's in its 36th year now. It's done 185,000 miles, coming up to 200,000 within the next, I'd say, year, definitely. For a 1.1, 200,000 miles ain't bad. Yeah, and it went through the MOT with an exhaust bracket. So, bar the MOT, which I think cost me 70 quid in a retest, it ended up being an MOT bill for £105. So, long live the 205. And the amount of miles I've put on it, unbelievable car. It's the longest car I've ever had in my entire life of owning a car. And I bought it for just what I thought would be a 6-month summer, autumn nostalgia trip back to the days of when I learned to drive in a 205. I've never owned a 205, you see. I learned to drive in one, and I used to love that car. That was a diesel, though, a GRD, if I remember. But anyway, I can't part with it. I can't bear to part with it now. It's my 8th year. It's definitely by far. I think the longest car I had before that would have been probably the Audi 80 that I had, which I really liked as well, although no headroom, cramped. But I still like the Audi 80. But yeah, I had that, I think, for 4 years, maybe 4.5. So this is way outdone that by about 2.5, 3 years. So yes, the Red Monster is indestructible. I can read the comments on the phone as well, even though they're tiny. I prefer to read them here. Yeah, it is indestructible, mate. It's going on, and it's I am well and truly off the cut at the moment. Normally, I'm more in places that have a road bridge, and then I park my car. And I think most people know what happens is I take my boat 5 miles down the cut, then I walk back 5 miles, pick up the car, and drive the car to the boat. Or the other way around. Sometimes I drive the car if I know there's a limited parking space, and I'll drive my car to the parking space, walk back and get the boat, and then bring the boat to the car. That's quite common, but at the moment I don't have that. My car is still at North Kilworth Wharf because John has very kindly allowed me to keep it there, which is great fun because I know it's safe. I always know it's safe, even on the side roads, but I'm not using it. I stocked up, and there's a shop 2.5 miles that way, which is Husband Bosworth's shop, and that is perfect for me because that's the one I used to visit when I was at the wharf. So, to be honest, I haven't gone far. The wharf is about, well, you got to go through the tunnel. Came through the tunnel about 2 miles, so 2.5, 3. It's about 3 miles away. I've been 3 miles since leaving on Monday. Again, reason being, I'm excited to be headed towards. Well, I'm going towards Foxton. I'm turning around tomorrow and heading back to North Kilworth, where I will be heading towards Crick, within a few days because I want to find a mooring space for the Crick Boat Show. So if anyone's going, everyone's going to the Crick Boat Show. Old school full, fancy that? Fancy go, Julie? Fancy going to the Crick Boat Show this year? Wonderful stuff. Thrilling. It's got a beer tent though. It does have a beer tent, and it's not all boaty stuff. I mean, yeah, 90% of it is boats. It bores the shit out of me, to be honest. I just go for the. I go from this of nothingness with no one around to just people, noise and music and beer and food tents, just for the lark, just for the lark. It's a shock to the system. The boat show. There's thousands of people that attend it. Personally, if I was looking for a boat and I was a first timer looking for a narrowboat, Crick Boat Show is probably the last place that I'd go. To be honest, it's probably the last place I'd go because most of the boat builds there will cost you hundreds of thousands. You're not going to find a 30 grand boat like this one was back in the day. You're not going to find that there. So it's all I'd say that probably the most expensive one I saw there last year was 280,000, which is a wide beam. It was like a stately home on a canal. But yeah, stupid money, absolutely stupid money. And yeah, I mean, you go there as a boater than myself. You go there to steal ideas. If you were a first-time buyer and you weren't sure what you were really looking for in a boat, it's lovely to go around and take ideas from designs and stuff like that. So I'd recommend Crick Boat Show for that. But if you're going to buy a first time to look for a boat, I wouldn't bother. I would just keep to Apollo Duck. Anyway, that's enough boat stuff. Yeah. So might go see if there's a Somalian pirate ships going cheap. I'll look out for you, old school. I'll look out for you. I don't. There was a Breaking Bad one last year, or a couple of years ago now. I've seen it. I'd seen it on the cut as well last year. I don't know where it is now. It's probably God knows where, but it was a boat with a bit like mine, which is obviously in reference to David Lynch. Theirs was in reference to Breaking Bad, Vince Gilligan's wonderful series, which I have rewatched recently for only the first time since they were broadcast. And you know what? Some TV shows. Let's get back onto TV. Don't want it to be all boaty stuff. Some TV shows, they don't. For me, they don't earn their status as being, it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. But there are certain shows like The Sopranos, like Breaking Bad, like Mad Men, which I don't think even The Sopranos doesn't get as much love today as Breaking Bad still does. But it's warranted because my fear was going back to Breaking Bad was I watched it when it was broadcast, really enjoyed it, on the edge of my seat. There are a couple of things that had changed second time round for me. I'll get onto that, but I think it's very much holds up the status of being iconic and a masterpiece even to this day, and people are still finding that show, so they've never watched it, and I envy those people. But yeah, give Breaking Bad a watch. I watched it because I'd only ever seen the first series of the spin-off Better Call Saul. I'd only ever seen the first series. I love Bob Odenkirk, and I thought if I go back to Breaking Bad, I'll start Better Call Saul immediately after, and it's worked out perfectly. So I'm currently on series 3 of Better Call Saul, which was a slow burner, but then again, Breaking Bad was a lot of rich characterization being given to Saul Goodman, or Jimmy, as he's known, for a good 2.5 seasons. And it's worth it because I can feel the build up now. It sort of starts at the end of season 2, and it's sort of like kicks in middle of season 3, and I'm pretty sure it's just going to get better and better. And it's been good to watch his character progress. So Yeah, so that's what I've been watching recently. Sherry Swiss. Hello, Sherry Swiss. Sherry Swiss. Sherry Swiss. Sounds a bit like. Now, don't take offense here, Sherry Swift. Swiss. Sounds a little bit like. Sounds a little bit like a used car salesman. Sherry Swiss. Welcome, I'm Sherry Swiss. I'll be your car dealer today. Sherry Swiss. I'm sure there's a reference to Sherry Swiss somewhere. I'm sure it's probably from something. It's probably not your name. And if it is your name, I'm not taking the piss. Sherry Swiss says, any chance of getting Tiswas episodes, or are they all gone forever? Do you know what? You probably seen that Saturday stream. I did a Saturday stream a while back, and it's got clips of Tiswas in it. That flagged up so many copyright issues with me back in the day. I don't know whether you've seen it. It's probably no more than a 2-minute clip. It flagged up copyright issues, and this is going back, what must be 3 years ago now, when I did those live streams on a Saturday. Bar this one. I'd be apprehensive. I know I've been apprehensive in uploading any more since then. I haven't checked it out again. Things change with YouTube, policies change and things like that. It never gets easier to upload stuff because of copyright. But Sherry, I will have a look and see whether I do have some episodes. I haven't checked YouTube other channels in case it's content already here, and if it is, I don't upload. I always keep everything that goes up on my channel. I always make sure it's not available anywhere else, because if it is, then why upload it and stand on somebody else's toes? In fact, I'll always post. I did recently, I think, post West Country Tales that I believe Julie commented on. A link in my community. It's not my channel. God damn, I wish I had that series myself. Put it on my channel. But I had an issue with it. The thing is, like 2 or 3 years ago, my channel was deleted. I had to contact the BBC to get it back. I contacted the copyright department at the BBC in London. Backwards and forwards we went. And then in the end, they just removed the strikes for me and they got my channel reinstated. So that's where I'm always a little bit weird with the BBC. Tiswas was the BBC or Tiswas ITV? It's a bit before my time. I was watching Saturday Superstore back in the day. I mean, that's early to mid 80s. Mike Reed. Swap Shop was a little bit earlier as well. I think Swap Shop and Tiswas, even though I was definitely born, but I might have been 1 or 2 years old. Didn't really register what I was watching. So it wasn't until Saturday Superstore, probably about 84, did I start. I used to love the cartoons on that. There used to be a cartoon, old school for. What was that cartoon on Saturday Superstore? Was it the Arabian Nights? Was that it? Was it called that, the Arabian Nights? I used to love that. I used to love it. Still trying to get a canal permit for my U-boat. Bloody red tape, says old school for. Yeah, CRT a bit of a pain for that, mate. I mean, there are some places you might struggle to get through, and definitely under a few bridges. Old school says, Sherry Swiss, do you know what Tiswas stands for? Oh, I don't think Sherry Swiss is here. Sherry Swiss, are you still here? Or were you offended that I called you a Sherry? Because you don't really think of a female used car salesman, do you? Swiss. I think it's just the Swiss. I think if I was to create a name for a second-hand used car salesman, it would be probably something like Terry Swiss. Go right back to the Arthur Daly and the Minder stuff. Terry Swiss. You can trust him. Terry's a good guy. Terry Swiss. He won't con you. Yeah, my ass. Terry Swiss is he's a known con man. He is. Size of a gnat. Size of a gnat. Have you been spying on me through the mirror in the bathroom? Size of a gnat. You see that? It's all right. I was thinking that the BrewDog, whatever they put on the tin, like Hazy Jane Tropical, like whatever flavour BrewDog do, it still just tastes like IPA with a very hint of what the flavour is on the tin. It's like they don't. I don't know. Maybe just people prefer BrewDog because it still tastes like IPA. It doesn't taste like fruit juice. But I was half expecting that to have a little bit more of a tropical taste. It's got an aftertaste. It's not for how much it cost. Yeah, Swiss Tony. Oh, there you go. I knew it was something. I knew there was something there. Swiss Tony. It's the Fast Show. That's what that name reminded me of. Julie in there with the logic of where it came from the back of my head about con men. Terry Swiss. Yeah. Is it Terry Swiss? Oh no, that's not is that Phone Jacker? Was that Phone Jacker? Terry Swiss. That wasn't Fast Show, was it? Or was it? I'm getting one of them mixed up. Somebody help out. Terry Swiss, Phone Jacker, or the Fast Show. It's one of them. Swiss Tony, even. Terry Swiss is my own creation but that stemmed from Swiss Tony. So what did Swiss Tony? What was Swiss Tony in? Was it Phone Jacker or Fast Show? Arabian Nights. One of them used to transform by saying size of a whatever he changed into. Oh my God, that was it. Yes, he had the power to turn into anything he wanted. Size of an eagle. Terry Tubbs. Phone Jacker. Who's Swiss Tony? Julie. Who's Swiss Tony? It's a character, isn't it? Terry Tubbs, yeah. Terry Tubbs was the one. Swiss Tony Fast Show. Thank you, Old School Fool. God, that would have bugged me. Okay, so we've got Phone Jacker and the Fast Show. God, yeah, they were great characters. But yeah. Oh, God. That's what ale does to me. It makes me burp. You see the sun? You can see the sun, can you? Does that look all right? I mean, I know. Sorry, it's vertical, guys. I really hate vertical phone, like when you're looking at something, but it's all I can do. Let's move that just a little bit there and get the sun. We're still in spring. So I put my jeans on and my rugby shirt because I had my t-shirt and my shorts today was about 22, 23 degrees here. In the boat was very hot. It was 29, I think it got to. It's currently airing. I can feel the heat coming out of it. Like it's just been very warm in there today. And I walked 5 miles today into the shop. Did that. Oh, there's a little jumping frog. A jumping frog. Albuquerque. We're back to Breaking Bad. Yeah, and it was very warm, and I walked the dodgy towpath. If anyone follows me on TikTok, I keep them all separate. But if anyone followed me on TikTok, you would see a couple of days ago I nearly fell in. And I started filming it after I nearly fell in, just because the state of the towpath wasn't. It was atrocious. And all I have in the back of my head is the CRT generic advert that you see on social media. It sort of starts with, "Life is better by the water. Bring your family and your friends. Come and spend some time down by the water. Enjoy a stroll along the banks of the canal. Take in all the nature." And I hear that in the back of my head as I'm falling into potholes the size of and I just think, "Oh, you CRT." There's a boat coming, so you're going to get a little bit of boat action, but I might go a bit shy. So, no, I don't know. I get a little bit shy. I don't like talking to the camera when a boat comes by, but I can see a boat coming down here. But yeah, so I did that again today, and the good thing is that was 5 days ago where I nearly fell in and did a video. Today I did the walk again. Glutton for punishment. I needed bread and milk. And CRT were taping it up, and I said, Oh, you tape it? Yeah. Well, we've had some complaints about the towpath. And they've there's some dangerous spots there, and it's the worst part of this particular canal. So they plan on sorting it out in the next year, but they've cordoned off the area now. So and I said, well, I'm moored further down. I said, oh, she said, oh, it's fine. Just go around the tape and you'll be fine, but just be careful. And so I got back here, and it's been so quiet since because they've taped it off further down there. So I don't even. So the average walker who's maybe walking their dog are they going the other way? So it's been so quiet here. Absolutely lovely. Tape it off more you want. Tape it off. But yeah, watch this boat coming down. Yeah, this might give you something to look at. Here we go. Ready? There we go. Now make them conscious they're on camera. So they're coming through the tunnel, the bridge. What do we got here? Terry Tubbs, the phone jackets for this Tony Nat Fire show. And Julie says it'll be lovely to go and camp where you are. It sounds lovely with the bird song. I'm glad you can hear it, Julie. I was going to shut up talking so you can hear the bird song. In fact, we'll keep this real time passing. This is a hire boat anyway. Definitely a hire boat. It's got the hire boat colours. Green, yellow and red. And it's got a guy on the bow doing something, probably drinking a beer. Let's watch this boat as it comes up. It's exciting stuff, isn't it? Yeah, definitely hirers. Weekend hirers, probably. Definitely. If you're just joining the stream, the riveting stream of narrowboat life, it doesn't get much more exciting than this, trust me. On Major Dolby's cat. You alright, mate? All good. You on holiday? You on holiday? It's a lovely evening for it, anyway. So I've got the beer. Oh, no, you're not disturbing it, mate. Oh, it's the Union Canal carriers. Braunston. Hey, mate. How you doing? You alright? Enjoy your holiday. I have, yeah. You were doing at least 3.5 miles an hour, mate. You're in trouble. Have a good one. Off into the distance as though they're disappearing into the sunshine. Disappearing. It's got bloody cold. I'll tell you that. The wind's picked up as the sun's going down. It's the wind has picked up. Wind has picked up. Yes, Julie, it's beautiful here. Absolutely beautiful. I've been away. What have I missed? Well, did you see the boat going past Old School Farm? The hire boat. They thought this was a speed camera. You really can speed on the canal. Oh, I say that, and you still get idiots that go past you at like 5-6 miles an hour, and the water just hits the side of your boat, pushing you against the arm cone, and it's like clang, clang, clang. Just absolute nightmare. They still do that. I mean, it's quite common. As long as they don't do it at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's fine, because that will wake me up, and then I'm up and about. Although I should be up and about at that time. I have been getting up early, actually. Been getting up at like 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, which isn't early for some. Early for me. When I was at the wharf, you wouldn't see much from me before 10 o'clock. I did see them, yes, highly suspicious. Do a backflip, buddy. Who says that? Who says that? I can't even. Sniff, sniff. I can read that part. Yeah, do a backflip, buddy. Sniff, sniff. If I did a backflip, mate, you would have to call 999 in the emergency ambulance that would come and pick me up. I'd accidentally do a backflip, probably paralyze myself. And quite frankly, if I did I'm 6'7". If I did a backflip, if I fell in here now, I could walk across this canal. I think I'm taller than this particular section. I mean, I wouldn't get very far because I'd be in silt, and I would, yeah. I would get stuck in the middle at some point. But yeah, no backflipping in the canal now. If in a river, maybe, which I intend on being later this summer in a river. All being well, my hopes and dreams of this year of going places is I want to head up towards Yorkshire. I just want to revisit Yorkshire from my childhood. I want to go on a canal called the Pocklington Canal, which is a renowned headache of a canal to do. But the scenery on the Pocklington, and it will require me going up to a place called Goole, Goole, Goole. It's sort of Goole is like if you're really interested, which you're probably not, it's the most inland port in the country. It's about 20 miles inland, but it's the gateway to the Yorkshire Narrows and canals. So that's where I'd like to go. But I'm going to get there because that's part of the reason why I have this boat, why I live this lifestyle. But it's stupid. All the while I have ties in Devon. So I'm hoping to get that all done. And once that's done, I can go. Worst comes to the worst, I'll be in this area for another year. And it's still lovely. And I'm still enjoying discovering places. Like I probably wouldn't go back to the Ashby again. I'd probably go up just trying to think. Probably go up to a place called near Burton-on-Trent and then head back down again. Something like that. Either way, I can't go too far from Devon. All the while I'm up and down in Devon, it makes no sense. Mate, try it. He says, yeah, mate. Have you speed dial 999 then? Yeah, speed dial 999. Have you fallen in? I mean, I fell in a canal, mate. I've been in a canal for 3 hours trying to remove a piece of metal around my prop. I'll never forget that last summer underneath the M6 bridge, all the traffic going over the top of me. It was blindingly hot. It was 33, 34 degrees sunshine. And I thought, I can't handle being out traveling on the boat in midday heat like that. So, there's a huge motorway bridge. I'll pull in off the side, temporarily more for a couple of hours. Let that boat cool down. Let me cool down. So I pulled in, and it's obviously I caught something in the prop there, and I spent the next 3 hours, 4 hours in that canal under that bridge trying to remove a huge piece of metal wrapped around my propeller. I don't ever want to go back in the canal again. Not after that. Although, in some weird way, all that silt, gunk, shite, crap, pollution, everything that's in the canal felt so cooling to be in the water. Even though I lost one of my Crocs in the silt, just my foot just came up without the bottom bit. It's awful. So no, I ain't backflipping, mate. Old School Voice says these streams are always after his acrobatics. Hence, still in the rugby shirt. Yeah, I'm still in the rugby shirt. I've had this rugby shirt years, mate. I've had it years. It's the only thing I've got this long sleeve that isn't a proper shirt. Sniff, 50 likes if you attempt to walk across to the other side. No. Okay, give a shit about your likes, mate. Yes, come to Yorkshire, then I can bore you in person. Yes, Old School Fool. That's part of it. That would be so cool. Just come down to the Cut. We'll have a barbecue and some beers. Just spend the night. Just be creative. I've missed being creative. I keep having spurts, and then something stops me, and I have to get on with it. Then work stops me, and I've just like lost my creative thrill. I'm always old school's helped me a number of times with a few failed projects on my behalf. Failed because I failed them. But it's wonderful to be able to talk to other creatives and try and get things done. Yeah. Sniff Sniff says you get many tasty birds on the canal. A shopping trolley, probably. There are nice birds. Do you mean tasty? Do you mean tasty birds as in? Oh, blimey, she's a bit tasty bird, isn't she? Or do you mean chickens, ducks, geese? Because they are also tasty birds. I'm just trying to work out which one you mean there. I quite like the idea of, cool, yeah, she's a bit of all right, isn't she? Unfortunately, I haven't seen. Sorry, Julie. Derogatory terms, I'm pretty sure because you know Major Dog's cat, but there aren't many tasty birds that live on narrowboats that travel around. Yeah, you don't really see them walking the towpath. I saw these 4 old ladies today. They were walking before the CRT closed off that bridge just further down there, and they had their you know that it's not a walking stick because if you say that, it's not. What do you call it? It's the thing with the hikers use them. Those things, those poles. And there was 4. There were 4 of them, and they were probably in their 70s. Hello, young man. One of them said, and I was like, "Oh, hello. How are you? Oh, good, good, good." And they carried on because they were like in unison. These poles were in unison, and they just almost levitated in a horizontal line that way. Yeah, they were. That's what you see a lot, and it's lovely. And I do. I met one of my friends, one of my good friends now, Linda. She doesn't watch the channel, but Linda, dog walker in her 70s, farm owner, told me all about her life in London in the 60s. Fascinating woman to talk to. She was like a proper groupie, like she's seen by every band you can imagine. She had photos when I got to know her really well, and we'd go up for coffee. And I was moored in the same spot for 6 weeks. And she does dog shows with her poodles. But my God, was the life in the 60s. My God. I saw photos of like the Who in concert, Pink Floyd she had, the Beatles, when they came in the Midlands. Where was it? Eric Clapton, she saw Cream at Hinckley. She saw Cream at Hinckley. Hinckley. Anyway, fascinating lady, and she's in her 70s. So, I'm not an ageist person. Just talking about birds. I won't bother Judy with a laugh out loud. Thank you, Judy. Certainly not PC. I can't be PC if I tried. I have tried. I keep getting warnings when I do a stream on TikTok, and I've done like 1 or 2 streams on TikTok in the last year. And it says, some of the themes you're talking about might be offensive to some. And I'm thinking, what have I talked about? What have I talked about? The only thing I could think about was being off grid and not having to pay the government, subsidies for this energy, that energy when you're off grid and using your own solar. And I don't know, maybe TikTok are like, I don't know. Am I going to be offending someone? Am I going to be offending an Alcoholics Anonymous person who's going to see me drinking this? And they've gone cold turkey for the last 6 months. And I'm the last guy that they see on a stream by accident swiping up on TikTok. And they see me that, and I'm somewhere in the middle of this sentence. Like, personally, I prefer like a normal IPA rather than this tropical thing. And just by that, it was enough to put that guy over the edge. And he just ran out of his house and into a Tesco Express and bought himself a litre bottle of vodka. Some things I might be saying might be offensive to somebody. Everything's offensive to somebody. But TikTok rules and regulations, that's why I prefer YouTube. I preferred YouTube. It's why I don't stream that much on TikTok. I do upload on TikTok, but that's it. Anyway, to all you alcoholics out there, cheers. And to all you recovering alcoholics out there, cheers. Oh, that's too much. I don't drink much anyway. I literally have if I'm in the summer, I probably have a can every other day. One can gets me a little bit tipsy because I used to drink a lot on cruise ships. I don't now. Now that I don't, when I have one, it's hits me for 6. Old School says, let's just say there's a known saying on the cut: if Lost Highway rocks on, then the Major's not got his Crocs on. Hold on. You don't want to see. You don't want. Hold on. You see them? There they are. Croc porn. Oh, that's a horrible angle. Let's get you back to the sun. That's a good one, Old School Fool. I'll remember that one. I'll remember that. Got my ginger and apple there, which I always drink. Where's the sun? It's that haze. This is the what do they call it? The magic hour. It's like twilight. It's like not twilight. It's the magic hour. God, I used to know all these terms of photography. If I was to be waiting for a perfect time to take a photograph on film, especially, and I am intending on getting my film camera out more this year again, but it would be sort of now, as it's slightly hazy. You can see slightly that you may not be able to see on this crappy vertical iPhone, but there's a slight low haze to the sun, and it sort of gives off a misty effect. It's more pronounced in the mornings, which is why I think if you're a photographer and you're after that kind of shot, I personally would say the sunrise is actually more, can lead to the better circumstances in conditions to get that perfect shot. But that doesn't mean to say that sunsets aren't as beautiful. There are there are similarities, but I do still think that the sunrise on like an early spring morning where you sometimes get a low mist over the canal, that looks lovely, and I've seen it once this year, and I was hoping to see it more, and I saw it at the wharf. It was like it's like I was in a discotheque from 1979, and there was like a load of what do they call it, CO2 or whatever it is, just on the dance floor, and it was like that all the way over the canal. It looked amazing, and then the sun came up and gradually cleared, but during that moment where the sun's rays were on that, it looked absolutely stunning. Dry ice is what I'm thinking of. Dry ice. Julie Ash has got it right. Golden hour. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. And thank you. I see Boo Who also said golden hour. Golden hour. Golden hour. Wasn't that what Simon Bates used to call that? Didn't he used to call something the golden hour? No. No, that was our tune. The golden hour. Oh, it's something. Something on a radio show. Why am I looking at the small one? I can look at the big one. You missed a comment above old chops. I did I? Crock and roll. Oh, crock and roll, says Old School. What a lovely spot. Let's just say, I don't know whether, swans. Aristoson. Aristison, dear Aristison, Ariston swans. Did you see some swans? Because I didn't. There are swans, just not round here. I have had a little family of ducklings go past, and I did feed them a little bit of duck food that I have in there, but the little ones couldn't. They were so tiny. These little duck chicklings, ducklings. David Attenborough often gets terms mixed up. At 100, who wouldn't blame him? Ducklings. And I fed them a little tiny bit of Hovis brown loaf bread. And I know you're not supposed to give ducks bread, but they were looking at the mum stealing all the pellets, and they couldn't have it because they're too hard for their beaks. So I thought, oh, I'll give them something. And they did. They managed to get a little bit. They were like running around with a little tiny bit of brown bread in their mouth. It's quite funny. So that's the entertainment when you live on a canal boat. I should write a story, a book. I was thinking of like one of my favorite animals in nature is the blackbird. I've always loved the blackbird. I think they're extremely intelligent birds, and I love the blackbird. I love their sounds, their morning sounds, and their evening sounds. I like the blackbird. Maybe I should just write a book. Maybe that would be the creative thing. Kentucky Lady Cat. Hello, Kentucky Lady Cat. Kentucky, I've not been there. I say it because I've been to a lot of places in America, but Kentucky, no. Kentucky Lady Cat. Anyway, Kentucky Lady Cat says Crocs are so comfy and perfect to wear around water. They are, aren't they? I've got 3 pairs. I've got these ones, which are my favourite because they're cream and they kind of go with the blue jeans or shorts, my brown shorts. I've got a blue pair and I've got a red pair. The red pair only really come out because they last forever. They seem to last forever, but they've lost a little bit of their grip. So the red pair are really only for when I want to be lazy and walk around inside the boat, but I don't want to get my, may have dirty feet from something. And I wear those inside because they're not as good grippy shoes for the outside anymore. But Crocs, I love Crocs. Kentucky Lady Cat from Kentucky. Lady Cat. I should keep up with these comments. Sniff Sniff says, I got one thing in common with the sun, bud. We both rise together. And Kentucky Lady Cat says, nice of you to take the time to do a live for everyone. And nice of you, Cat, to join me. This is the thing. I mean, we've got a nice community. I love the very first time it happened a couple of years ago. Let me indulge in this small thing that really perked me up. Was when it was a couple of years ago, and when I could physically see people were interacting with everyone on the comments section. So people were replying to comments, and I wasn't having to do anything. And I thought, this is wonderful. There's a real sense of community being built here. I try and respond to every single comment. Some comments I don't quite understand and I might not respond, but I loved it when I really knew there was a community built was when people started responding and replying, and I love that about the channel. And I used to really love streaming. I streamed, was it Old School 4? Julie was there as well, I think. I streamed every Saturday night at 8 o'clock, and I agree with what you told me in a message, where if I had kept it going, I think it would have been something. I think this channel would have been much more than just an archive TV channel. I think it would have. I think I gave up too soon, and a year of doing that every single Saturday, give or take maybe a couple in that year, they are available. I've made them private now because there's a lot of copyright issues with it. That was the number one drainer for me. It wasn't doing those live streams every Saturday. It was the copyright and the disheartening fact of when you do a 2-hour stream and you get a copyright strike, or worse still. I mean, copyright strike, what, 3 and you're gone. But worse still is when they make it invisible. So that whole 2 hours that you've done something, you may have showed a 5-second clip of Jeffrey from Rainbow doing something, and they will make your stream, it is not available to see by public. And if YouTube hadn't been like, and it's got worse, it has got worse. It's not the platform to start live streaming again on a regular basis. I would fall under the same thing, and I find it very hard motivation to keep that going. But if I could have got over that, and I was trying to work my way around different things and how to do those Saturday live streams, yeah, old school fools sort of mentioned it to me back, saying he reckons it would have been there would have been something built on, because there was already a community in the chat, and a lot of support for the channel coming from the uploads. So I don't know. Put it down to my lapseness at seeing it. And the other thing that I learned with live streaming, and I've since mentioned this to people who ask me, "Oh, you've got a fairly successful channel." I was like, "Yeah," I said, "it's done really well." I said, "I've never been about the numbers. Don't really care about the thousands of subscribers or anything. But it's that interaction with the community, and a sense of community, building a sense of community around archive and old school TV, and stuff that introducing people to shows that they've never even heard of." What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the one thing that I would advise anyone now is, don't keep focusing on the views you haven't got. Focus on the views that you get. Don't keep focusing on the subscribers you haven't got. Focus on the ones you've got, and do the entertainment for those people alone. Don't because you can neglect an audience that you've already got by trying to do something completely different to try and attract a new audience. And it's like you end up just backlogged with all these friggin' ideas or different styles or different sort of content themes and stuff, but you're never really sort of pleasing anyone. So I would recommend anyone is, don't feel like you're not progressing with subscriptions. It was interactions or live stream interactions. For me, it was always a bit disheartening. But just concentrate on the audience you already have. Give them the content that they're there for, that they enjoy, that they appreciate. Yeah, and that's what I would probably say. So I've learned something from this whole thing. Son says, tasty birds. I love ducklings. Need a lot of chips with them though, says Old School 4. I can't eat ducks now that I've moved on the canal. I used to love Peking duck. Chinese ducks are different. They're not the ones that swim in the canal and the ones I feed. Sniff says, it says he's been out with a blackbird. Nice one, mate. Nice one. Did you come high on the pecking order? Was she high on the pecking order? Old school. COVID. Oh, do you remember when you used to say that? You remember when you used to get like channel banned as soon as you mentioned it? It was all I was, streaming right around some of that stuff. Well, robins are best, followed by wood pigeons. I love the wood pigeons sound. Thank you, Shamps. Yeah, I like these. Although I am taking them off now because the sun has gone in and I can barely see. Yeah, they're slightly orange tinted, or rose tinted. Rose tinted. Don't look back with rose tinted glasses. Yeah, I do. I like my rose tinted glasses. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And Kentucky Lady Cat says, you have a very nice looking boat. Thank you, Cat. I appreciate that. It's taken a few years to get it to where I want it. Inside still needs a bit of work in terms of I want a new bathroom layout. I want to change things. But outside, they did a wonderful job here. I can probably, before I go, if you're still on the stream in the next 30 minutes, which is, not expected to hang around that long, but I'll take this off the map. I'll just walk around the boat. As long as I'm close to the Starlink behind me, I can keep the signal. I won't suddenly disappear. Saturday streams are best, but yes, copyright made it, and saucy banter impossible. Yes, the saucy banter. Oh, I hate when the phone does that. It's like when I look down, it goes dark. Yeah, that didn't help. Like it wasn't PG rated. I wouldn't say it was an 18 rated show though that we did. I would say that it was a 15 certificate, maybe a PG 12 or PG 13. Sniff says, I might do a live stream, but reckon I'd get banned though. This is the problem, mate. If you don't, I mean, I learned the hard way of what I could and what I couldn't talk about during the dark years of 2020, 2023. And I was getting a lot of the people, the dissident voices, they were being banned, and everyone was getting their channels removed because they were saying things that they shouldn't have been saying. And then the whole freedom of speech thing, the right wing hijacked the freedom of speech thing, and it became like, if you try to defend freedom of speech, you must be a Nazi. The logic of the word, I've just said that word, and that word would probably, if I was monetizing this account, that would be flagged up now in a YouTube thing. It's probably best not to be honest. You can never be 100% free on YouTube. In fact, you have to be about 50% free and about 50% conscientious of what comes out of your mouth before you say it. And unfortunately, that's not something I can do very well. So some of the live streams, yes, some of those live streams might have got a little bit raunchy. A little bit. Oh, heaven forbid freedom of thought, and 9 minutes wouldn't last past the intro. Old school me and you both. Yep, old school. I thank you all for your great uploads. Pink Dostoevsky. Thank you. You're very welcome. Please do stay around and integrate with the chat. But I appreciate your support on my channel, and I'm glad that you found it. You found something that you like. If there's anybody watching out there who hasn't spoke yet, or the ones who have spoke, some of the newer names here. What was it that you first watched on my channel? What was it that first brought you to the channel? What was the TV show? Just out of interest. If only you didn't leave take that, Chris. But you had no idea they'd get that big. I know, mate. It was a choice that I said to Robbie. I said, look, mate. I said, sometimes your ego, I feel like you have to walk into the room twice to literally bring your ego with you. And Gary took offence to that, and he stood up for him at that point. He was standing up for his boy then. He said, look, Chris, just take your side of it. You know, the Beatles 4, and we, really think that we'd be better with just 4, so you're going to have to go. And that was it. That was in my end of take that day. So I'll never forget it. I'll never forget walking away from that. And, I think I said something like, yeah, well, the Bee Gees are originally 4 members, but nothing. It fell on dead ears. Copyright and patents are partner absurdities. They certainly are, and that's what prevents the creative juices to flow. Because when you're referencing movies and TV, that as much as I do in my life, it's very hard to communicate without saying it's a bit like that scene or it's a bit like that song. And it makes it very hard, which is probably another reason why I've tried to persevere with TikTok, because on TikTok, they're just like, yeah, play the Beatles in the background. Nobody cares. How the hell do they get away with that? How the hell do they get away with like the copyright? They're playing like, music, there's guys DJing at 3 a.m. in the morning, playing great dance tracks, old school form. And they don't have any worries about it, but yeah. I mean, it would be easier in theory to do a show like we used to do on Major Darby's Cat every Saturday on TikTok, but it's TikTok, innit? It's TikTok, innit, mate? It's TikTok. Kentucky Lady Cat, you're welcome. No, you're welcome. Thank you again. Ariston says, Ariston. I can call it Ariston and on, Ariston and on. Like copyright in paints, the right does not really exist. Yeah, it does my head in with they kept moving the goalposts. That's what YouTube did. They kept moving the goalposts and then they put them back in place again. And the channel that to go back to Westry Tales that I posted on the community page of my YouTube channel, I had 7 of those episodes uploaded to my channel in 2015, and they stayed until 2019, 2020. And then suddenly I had one copyright strike from something else, and that alerted the copyright people, and they went in and swooped through my account, and those had to go private. But cut to 6 years later, I suddenly find those episodes again on somebody else's channel. It's been uploaded for 6 months. They don't have quite as many subscribers, I think a few thousand. But there's an inconsistency there. It's like, how come you told me I had to remove mine, but he's got the same one, or they've got the same ones up? But it didn't matter anyway, because that channel was posted 4 episodes that I never could find. I spent a year and a half, 2 years trying to go through all my sources to try and find the missing episodes from that series. And then suddenly they're all on YouTube, different channel. Go to that channel, watch the shit out of them, download them, keep them safe on your hard drive, because what comes around goes around. I'm pretty sure if that channel maybe grows a little bit more, the copyright people, the BBC it was the BBC. It was a BBC regional program, might I add. It was never showed nationally, West Country Tales. They were regionally produced by, I think it was BBC Southwest. So regional, when the BBC had all their little stations that were regional before it all went privatized, or whatever you call it, it was specifically showed on BBC South Devon, 1981, 82, 83, and that's where I caught them. I was very, very young, but that show had left an indelible impression in me. It's haunting. It's very folk horror as well. Very here and now as well, for something that was made 45, 50 years ago. Keith Barron did a couple of them. I loved Keith Barron, which I brought up in my stream many a times. Oh, what's going on there? Oh, hold on. I'm missing chat, guys. I've just realised it's come up as a friggin' top chat, not live chat. Bollocks. Oh, sorry, I'm swearing again. It's probably going to get me removed. Welcome, like copyright. The left misleading implies an antipode. Yes, it's sinister. Motive stands alone. Don't trust anyone, mate. Doesn't matter which side of the coin you're on. You're all. I just don't even care anymore. I just don't even care which side, because I don't think whether it's the light side of the moon or the dark side of the moon. Dark side's the left. I don't really do the left and right stuff anymore. But yeah, they're after everyone. Kentucky Lady Cat. Oh no, that's it. Oh, it's my mate. It's good. My mate and Aaron. Hello, mate. How are you? I just see that. I knew it. Do you know what I saw first, mate? I didn't see your name. You know what I saw first? Chocolate Issues, which was a wonderful idea. A wonderful idea of back in uni. And Aaron, my friend, would be sitting on a beer barrel, drinking pints of ale, quaffing like a fucking like swearing, but like a motherfucker. And I'd be smoking way too much of the Mary Jane. I mean, we were film students, and we would come up with this really good idea for it. I'm not even going to go into the synopsis now, because that would get me banned from YouTube. But we came up with this really good idea, and it was called Chocolate Issues. That's all I'm saying. Nice of you to remind me of that on a live stream, mate. And I also remember a phone call I took from you once on a live stream, and I had it on speakerphone. And again, I can't repeat what was said because it would get me removed from YouTube. Kentucky Lady Cat, it's been enjoyable to see you and view your live stream today. I hope that you and everyone enjoy a wonderful weekend. Catch up with you later, everyone. I have to cooking for Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Kentucky Lady Cat, and thank you for joining me. Appreciate that. Hope you hadn't left before I got to say that again. Really appreciate you being here, and yes, have a lovely Mother's Day. Old School Fall. Are you still hosting the breakdance tournament on your boat, or will there be the same lame old "it's too small" excuses? Says Old School Fall. It's too small, mate. I can't breakdance. I can't do the windmill in here. I can't do the windmill. Toodaloo, Lady Cat. Thank you, Old School Fall, for replying. I was too busy reminiscing about chocolate issues. What was the name of the drummer? What was the name of the drummer, mate? I can't remember. We came up with the name of the drummer. No, it's not what people think. It's not what people think. West Country Tales have been uploaded this week on YouTube, all remastered, amazing. Yes, mate, that's what I was talking about. I literally posted it on my community, and I'd been looking for like those 4 missing episodes, and I've only had crappy quality ones from 10 years ago. I've been looking for them for the last year and a half, 2 years, and I couldn't find them. And then suddenly, it came up on my feed, and I was like, I haven't seen that one, and they are in amazing quality. I don't know who did it. Either somebody has restored them themselves, and I've tried that, but I haven't got the right software. I don't know how long they'll be there for. I have a funny feeling that because there was a copyright issue with the BBC when I uploaded several episodes 5 years ago. I don't know how long they last. I would recommend, as I've said, for everyone to go out there and just download them. They are wonderful. They are something wonderful, to be honest, and they are inspiring and simple and atmospheric. Wonderfully narrated, especially the ones by I just said it. I just said his name. Keith. Keith. My brain's gone dead. Keith Allen. Keith Allen narrates West Country Tales. I paid to listen to that. Yeah, West Country Tales. Yeah, so I'm having an issue with my chat, guys. 1 second. It's doing that weird thing where I have to keep refreshing it. Oh God, there's quite a few. Sorry. West Country Tales. The band Wings could have been. Says Old School Fool. Chocolate Issues. The band Wings could have been. Good talking to you. Okay, mate. Thanks. Sorry, I'm having to refresh the chat here. Good talking with you, buddy. Have a great weekend. Catch up again soon, mate. Thanks for being here. Sniff, sniff. Sniff, sniff, sniff. Sniff, sniff. Thanks for being here. The sun is going down. The sun is going down. To the Monty Python thing. Cheers for the old school. There's no side. We suffer transgression, aggressing against nature, presented as a Gordian paradigm. Yeah. Very philosophical thinking there. My brain needs to take that in. And also, Keith Allen is a big wally, isn't he? Keith Allen used to be a really funny man. I don't know whatever happened to him. He lost his sense of humour. I don't know where it was. Was he one of the people that like supported Blair back when? Was he a Blairite? Was that something? Was he sort of like at some kind of Labour Party conference in 1997, something like that? So he did something stupid, like every week it seemed. Keith Allen, but there was always something anarchic about him in the comic strip stuff, and going back to some of those comic strip stuff, I mean, a lot of that stuff wasn't that great, but there were some gold in amongst the crap. And Keith Allen was good in some of those, but yeah, I don't know whatever happened to him. He went off the board. Well, he had a daughter that I mean, when Lily Allen came out, I think I was at uni, and I think I bought the first album. I quite liked their first album. I quite liked it. Shoot me down. But anyway, yeah, something happened there. Something happened there, and now he is just a tit. Oh God, I can see the comments up here a bit better actually now. He thought I did something stupid. Yeah, Lily. That's it. I quite fancied her back in the day. Here's a song that something from the days of university. I was walking along the towpath. I just literally about 10 minutes up there, and a hire boat went past yesterday, and they were playing Sophie Ellis Bextor, "Murder on the Dance Floor," and suddenly I was right back in the lounge of the house that we used to rent in Falmouth. And I remembered a conversation I had with someone who lived there. And I remember a conversation I had with them about how pop music was trying to be something different nowadays. And it was so weird because when I heard that song, I'm listening to it in a different light now. It's almost nostalgic. It's almost layered that song with some nostalgia. And I think it's because I used to rip CDRs, and I had her album on a CDR. I think one of the roommates, and Aaron, you'll back me up. I'm pretty sure our roommate used to copy CDs, and I got a copy of that album, and I just remember thinking that pop music wasn't like it was in my day, and I felt old. I remember feeling old. I remember him making me feel old. And I know I was considerably older, but it's weird how a period of time progresses. And you hear that same piece of music again, and its connotations are different now than when they were back then. And yet the connotations are, God, I still feel old because it's like 20 years ago now. It's older now than it was when I was back then, if you know what I mean. But there was something else to the music, and it made me hark back to those days. And I listened. This is the thing. I listened to the full album on YouTube of a band called Tattoo, which is god awful. It makes Sophie Ellis Bextor seem like a friggin' Emmy award-winning singer. I mean, I think she probably is, but Tattoo. Do you remember them? And that's where it stopped, and that was literally me coming back onto the boat after that walk, and that's my nostalgia trip for the day. It sort of it started with Sophie Ellis Bextor and ended with Tattoo. And there was another song. Does anyone remember the song "Fuck the Pain Away" by the Peaches? I think it was Peaches. These are early 2000s stuff, and they were pretty crap back then, all this stuff. But there's something deeply nostalgic sort of sound to them that they could only come from that decade or that particular time in music. But yeah, anyway, the sun's going down. Not that I listen to much music anymore. I still listen to Pat Benatar, for Christ's sake. I love my Pat Benatar. I've got all her vinyl in there. And ironically, I was never a Pat Benatar fan in the 80s. I never listened to rock music in the 80s. I certainly wouldn't have listened to Pat Benatar. It was only in the 90s that I get into Pat Benatar when I used to buy the cassettes at car boot sales. I was like, oh, where's this woman? She's really good. And then my resurgence of vinyl, 2015, when I started buying records again, I bought all of Pat Benatar's back catalogue up to the 1985 best of Pat Benatar. Everything after that went a bit crap. But the earlier stuff's great stuff. I love her. I love Pat Benatar. What are some of your favourites? Oh God, I haven't done a stream since December on here. Old school fool says a tattoo, the little fella on Fantasy Island. No, they were a couple of lesbian Scandinavians. Were they Scandinavians? No, hold on. Lithuanians. I don't know. They weren't lesbians. They were marketed as lesbians. It was 100% a load of like prefabricated crap just to get them kind of, the shock value of it. Like there was any shock value left in 2001, 2002. I think it'd all been used up, but they certainly weren't. Pat fell apart when she transposed herself. What's that mean? I don't know that much about Pat Benatar other than her music, mate. I don't know anything about her personal life. So if you wanna fill me in on that, that would be interesting. But I don't think it will change my opinion on her music. I separate the politics from the artist, and have done that ever since the Michael Jackson stuff. I don't really care what they get up to in their own private lives. Obviously, there are certain people that you should have an ounce of worry about, but generally speaking, if you like their music, I mean, you what's the singer called? I'm the leader. I'm the leader. Yeah. Who still plays Gary Glitter's songs? Does anyone out there still? Does anyone out there? Be honest. If they do hear Gary Glitter, and they probably won't, or they may suddenly hark back to like, I'm just Gary Glitter, Top of the Pops, 1971. You still fucking think you still dance that. I can still hear my mum saying, Gary Glitter was the best. Like growing up, like the influence he had to like my parents growing up. There's no way in hell there aren't people still around that don't listen secretly to Gary Glitter on headphones in a little cupboard somewhere with soundproofing and going, leader, leader. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Where's the sun? I know there was a big uproar about it being included on that Joker soundtrack. Remember that? And the filmmakers apologized because they didn't realize. Of course, you realize. You knew exactly what you were doing. You're going for the controversy because that film's all about generating controversy and very little content. Pile of rubbish. Pile of absolute shite. Russian pretend rug munchians. Again, apologies for Julie. Rug munchins. Yes, they weren't proper. I mean, they were gay in real life, but you knew it was just one big publicity stunt. But I remember the roommate had the album and I listened to it. But as I said, going back to that now, oh my God, I didn't even get through to 3 tracks. I think got to their main one, which I can't even sing. I knew it straight away, but didn't get through the rest of their album. Then I did listen to Saint Etienne again. Big fan of Saint Etienne. She went from C to A. C to A. All the things she said, running through my head. Yeah, that was the song, mate. That's where I got. And you remembered it. And you wrote it. It's your fault. He's all good. Makes me. I'm not. Julie. I certainly would never apologise for myself, let alone anyone else. But I don't know. Just this little part of me inside that wants to be loved. Oh, he's a thoughtful chap, isn't he? So it's all on the outside. It's very little inside, Julie. Very little inside. Emotions inside hadn't really had to flare up for several years. So I sometimes think I can be quite cold. Some people don't think. Most people who know me say I'm not cold, but I can sometimes be so self-obsessed, especially in this life living by myself. I become so self-obsessed that every so often I feel like showing a little bit of empathy just to remind myself that I'm not just self-obsessed asshole. And Old School says Chris is into what is known as landfill core. Landfill core. If that is genre, Old School, that's a wicked genre of music right there. Yes, I could probably lump. In fact, the other guy in here, Naren, could probably throw some of my fucking choices of music in there as well. See, notes I swear as soon as I start thinking about it. He could throw some of my other choices in there. I did have a very eclectic mix of music when I went to uni. So a very eclectic mix. And I still kind of do. I still can listen to Anna von Hoswolf, singing some weird twisted metal sound in some gothic Swedish church. Sort of, ABBA. Although there is a connection between Anna von Hoswolf and ABBA. It's quite an interesting one. If you don't know who that artist is, it's interesting. And it's not just because she's Swedish and looks a little bit like one of the singers in ABBA. But there is a connection. Something to do with her father, if I remember. Trust me, Chris, a thoroughly horrible man. Thank you. That's it. You know me. You know me. Thoroughly horrible. Absolutely cutthroat evil. What I was going to say, yeah. So the sun is as soon as the sun goes down, you've got 5 minutes left. You've got 5 minutes left of the stream. As soon as the sun goes down, it's got really cold. It's still only May. It's still only early May. It's temperature must have dropped down to about 12, something like that, from being up at 22. So the wind's picked up a bit. I'm gonna finish my beer anyway. The thing with Brewdog is they promise so much by their label. They promise the world, and rarely do they deliver in terms of the offering you something a little bit more different than the average IPA. And this is tropical, and it's about as tropical as it's not tropical. It's about as tropical as Mr. Ben in the North Pole. It's all right. It just tastes like an IPA, but I've seen ones with ginger and elderflower, and I think, oh, that sounds great. Ginger and elderflower. Yeah, that's pimp up my IPA, and then you buy it, and you're like, it just tastes like IPA with a very hint. You get the flavor that it says on the can when you open the can. You get the smell, but you don't ever really get the taste. And there's so many. I had a beer the other day that had grapefruit in it, and it was really refreshing. I think it was like 5.6%. I can't remember the brand. I got it from Sainsbury's. Just one can, and it had grapefruit. It was an IPA with grapefruit. Really lovely. Taste the grapefruit. Tropical, nah. It's all right though. It's all right. It's all right. It's a 7 out of 10. Sun is still setting, which is good. It's not decided to come back up again and screw up my entire biological clock. Old School Fool says, yes, it is a genre. Basically, the stuff you find on tap in most record boxes and charity shops. Klaus Wunderlich. Klaus Wunderlich. Do you remember that, Old School Fool? There was a stream we were doing, and I was saying I was getting really angry that they may have like one David Bowie album, or they may have like one I don't know Bob Dylan album in a charity shop, and they put it right at the front just to get you to look through, and then immediately as you're moving them back, it may go sort of like Bob Dylan, the Carpenters, Paul Young, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Thompson Twins, Deacon Blue. And then gradually, as you get further and further back, you're just going down the levels of music. By the end, you're at Klaus Wunderlich and James Last. And that's the majority of the rest of them. Like that. There's probably like 10 in front of it. Klaus Wunderlich was... If you end on Klaus Wunderlich, then, where you go. The problem is that they fool you into believing that there's a whole stack of great records, and you're lucky to get half a dozen. Why is Glitter's sickness sold as special when the whole industry is either like him or even worse, while continuing with complete immunity? The thing is, like, it's definitely over the last 10 years, as the Hollywood thing breaks down, as the Hollywood celebrity is reconstructed. You know, for years, you see posts about Tom Hanks, and got to be careful what you say now. But the deconstruction of celebrityism has happened, and it's just left this distrust, or I guess it's probably more being cynical. I guess there's a cynicism that it's left as well. This, you know, the new Spielberg movie, Disclosure, and what AI is purportedly being, what it can do now, and see, you know, spaceships arriving, and is that real? Is that real? And that whole thing about, to go back on a very touchy subject with the particularly what you were saying then, there's a certain amount of, like, they've been watered down to who they really are. Twitter is part of a big reason why we've you know, we may not have liked what we've seen from them when they're being themselves. Their disguise is fallen. The mythos is gone. The myth of the celebrityism is gone, and everything is deconstructed, and everything has left us all more cynical. Not everyone. There are still people out there that, you know, go mad at, you know, merch. What do you call those fairs where you go meet your stars and stuff? But I think the whole star thing is gone. I think it's long gone. It's been obliterated by social media and what's come out in the last 10 years. But yeah, anyway, I'll try not to go down too far down that road. I won't mention Dido, mate. See, there you go. He's mentioned Dido. He mentioned it, but yes, I did like Dido's first album. Or was it the? No, it was the second album, not the one with Eminem. It's the second one. Cosmic Rough Riders. Cosmic Rough Riders. Oh, those were the days, mate. What was that free CD that we got with Mojo? We used to play it all the time. It had the really long version of Grandmaster Flash. Grandmaster Flash. That song, famous one from 1981, 82. White lines going through my mind. Is it dreams of passion? There was a Mojo magazine used to bring out some really good CDs. Probably still does. And I'm pretty sure we had one. It had the full 12-minute version of that of White Lines on it by Grandmaster Flash. That was great. We played that every night. It felt like every night we played that. But yeah, I do remember those ones you're mentioning there. Cosmic Rough Riders was a great album. Good call in it. Kids with chocolate around their mouths pointing at the dog. As tropical as Lenny Henry. What was the other one we always used to bring up? Lenny Henry, and what's the guy that did punchlines? What was he called? Lenny Bennett. Was it Lenny Bennett? No, Gary Wilmot. Gary Wilmot, wasn't it? It's tropical as Gary Wilmot. Gary Wilmot. That was the other one. Oh, those go back a couple of years to the live Saturday streams. What happened to the young pioneers, says Melee. Young pioneers. I don't know what happened to the young pioneers. I think I saw that comment on the video, and I don't think I've never uploaded anything like that. I don't know whether that's a series that you might be mistaken with somewhere, but I've certainly not heard of that series. I've got 3 Klaus Wunderlich albums, says Old School Fool. Some legendary hip-hop drums tucked away on them. People were sampling it, weren't they? Klaus Wunderlich. People have sampled some of his stuff. I've had this conversation. Sampled to death, by the way. Anyone remember Toffos? I'm pretty sure they did a Coca-Cola flavor Toffo. I should do Discord more, Old School, but I don't. and I've lost touch with Druss and Ray. I do message. I do message Ray through Discord. But yeah, I've lost touch with so many people on Discord. It's terrible. Give myself another social media platform, and eventually, within a couple of months, I'm like, no, I've had enough. It is a final reveal, not a fall from any grace. The system thinks it can move in and triangulate. It's not failing. It thinks that it is won. It's a scary world, mate. It's a scary world. I don't know. A lot of things I block out now. A lot of things I block out, and I'm aware of it, but I'm also aware that it leads me down a darkened thought process, and I tend to want to believe it. If I had this much belief in humanity as being good at the start of my life, as each year progresses towards the twilight years of my life and my death at some point, it's doing this. But instead of me noticing it, I choose not to. I choose not to notice it. I don't let things stress me out and take the last few minutes. It's like smoking. It's like when I used to say, like, if you smoke cigarettes, they take 2 minutes off your life. If you read the news or you go too deep down the rabbit hole, and I have been down the rabbit hole, and I'm in some way still down a rabbit hole and made my own rabbit hole. It's a bit like smoking a cigarette if you allow it to get to you, and nothing productive comes from it other than just this train of thought that leads you to a projected hell that this world is actually in. Lose yourself in good music and cinema. And anyone remembers toffos? Banana toffos were best, like robins followed by pigeons. I really like how you write, mate. It's very good. It sort of stops me in my tracks and makes my brain think. Well done. I can only say well done because it's nice. And banana toffos. They did exist, didn't they? But Coca-Cola flavored toffos, limited edition. For years, I've been debating whether a Coca-Cola flavored toffo ever existed, and I'm pretty sure it did. But I've looked and I've never found any evidence of it. If you can help me out, I know banana ones did exist. There was a pack that had different flavour toffos in them, like the Revels, like those Revels that used to have different chocolate things in them. They did a limited edition toffos where there were different flavours in one pack, and I'm sure in one of those limited edition ones they had a Coca-Cola flavoured toffo. Thanks for bringing that up, old school fool. I have to refresh here. I can see it's worked up there, but it's not working on my thing here. Oh god, now it's gone off down here. Oh, I might have to. Now I've lost the chat. Hold on. Better than swans. So the like robins followed by pigeons better than swans. Was Lenny Bennett in Flashdance? What the fuck? What? I love that movie. And I'm pretty sure Lenny Bennett wasn't in Flashdance, although I really wish he was now. I really wish Michael Norrie's character was gone, and it was Lenny Bennett with that permed hair hitting on Jennifer Beals. Jennifer Beals. What? I tell you what. Jennifer Beals. Today, Jennifer Beals is stunning. She's like hasn't aged, and it's like 40 years later. It's such a weird thing. And I don't know what it is about that, but I love Jennifer Beals in that film. I had a crush on her when I was 10 or 9 when I first saw that. I still do now as a 50-year-old. Still do now. Beautiful woman. Absolutely beautiful. And I love that movie. Such a great soundtrack. And it's one of the most 4K discs that I've got in there that's played almost monthly. Just sometimes the isolated score, just to listen to the soundtrack coming out of the speakers. I love that. I love the film. But yeah, Lenny Bennett, I'm pretty sure isn't in it, but he would have made a good. He would have made a good love interest. Feed Your Head was that CD. Some great shit on there. Chris Bell, Small Faces, Grandmaster Flash. That was it. Feed Your Head. And I remember that the cover now that you said the title. I remember that now. I remember the cover. Yeah, the trippy cover. That was a good CD. It must have come. You used to get that magazine, so it must have come from you. It certainly wouldn't have come from me. I don't think I bought magazines then. I haven't bought a magazine for 20 years. Old School Fool says, I believe smoking rids parasites, horses for courses, though. Smoking does. Smoking does. Just so chat knows, anyone remember Toffos was an emergency question on the old live streams. Chris was going down too spicy. Yes, that was it. That was it. When I would sometimes be on a train of thought that was going to get me into trouble, or it was a rant, or showing my true self, which I have to hide on the live streams. That would help. Thank you, Old School Fool. Certainly does help. Yeah, but a welder. I mean, yeah. Well, Lenny Bennett is a welder. Michael Norrie is her boss, isn't it? He's the boss. He's not a welder. He's the site manager. Oh, you mean without Jennifer Beals, it would just be a gay love story with Michael Norrie and Lenny Bennett? Is that what you're referring to? Which would in actual fact be quite interesting to watch. Yeah. So what? A gay love interest, and Lenny Bennett is Jennifer Beals' role in it. Although apparently the last scene that they you see her doing the dance routine in front of the judges, it's a Filipino 12-year-old boy in some of the shots. So there you go. So it could have been Lenny Bennett. Could have been Lenny Bennett. I am so sorry if I'm wrong about Lenny. I do not know much about films, but I know what is important. I think you might be a little bit wrong about Lenny Bennett being in Flashdance. It was Michael Norrie and Jennifer Beals, and the very sad thing about there's something deeply saddening about the other character in that, the barmaid, the actress who plays the barmaid, her friend, who's the ice skater in that famous scene with Gloria playing. She died. That actress died 6 months, I think, after that film came out. She was only 28 when she died. That actress who. So when you're watching that and there's that emotional tie, and it is quite an emotional scene with her father that's like responding to her finally. She's being judged on it, and then she falls a couple of times and then just stops dancing on the ice. It's quite an emotional scene. I think it's very well shot and a beautiful piece of music. But yeah, she died 6 months later, that actress. Very sad. Very sad. Very sad. Very sad. So it adds a little bit more of a tinge of sadness to that whole side storyline. Yeah. Films are not called movies, I know. Or cinema. I must admit, I don't use the word movie. I saw a good movie the other day. I must admit, I don't use that. I would say film. I saw a good film. But I would say, you can't really say I saw a good cinema the other day. But you can say films. You can say movies. I mean, there's an American connotation with the word movies, isn't there? You're not going to say I saw a great movie the other day, Battleship Potemkin. It'll probably be I saw a great movie the other day, Marvel film or something. That's a movie, isn't it? A movie is a Marvel, or DC, or movies, Superman movies. Superman the movie is a great film, by the way. Lenny Bennett on his ostrich racing through the South Bronx. Well, if there's a very, I mean, you know that Jennifer Beals spends most of the time on a bicycle in Flashdance. I was just thinking of Lenny Bennett with his ostrich cycling through Chicago on a bike. That'd be interesting. Interesting. I think it was Chicago as well. I don't think it's New York. Is it? Was it New York? I should know. I keep watching the bloody film. Is it Chicago or New York? No, I think it's Chicago. She goes to New York for an audition. I think it's Chicago. I think it's the streets. Yeah, it's definitely Chicago. Flashdance. Shit, got me thinking now. It's very industrialized. Definitely not New York. Oh God, why am I doubting that? I'm sure it's Chicago. I'm sure it's Chicago. I might be completely wrong. Which goes to say that the environment, while it fits the story of the film, isn't prominent to my. It's not a prominent cinematic thing going on. I think I'm more engrossed in the music and the Jennifer Beals in a leotard, possibly. I don't know. Was it Lenny Bennett who had the ostrich? You're not thinking of Lenny Bennett? I remember from Punchlines had the curly hair. Are you not thinking of what's the guy that was in an episode? Bernie Clifton, episode of Inside Number 9. Bernie Clifton. Bernie Clifton's wardrobe, I think it was called, or something. Bernie Clifton's yeah, wardrobe. Bernie Clifton's a great episode. It's a great episode of Inside Number 9. Yeah, you're thinking of Bernie Clifton. Didn't he have the ostrich? Is that Bernie Clifton? He had the ostrich, didn't he? Or am I wrong in thinking that? I can't remember Lenny Bennett having an ostrich, old school fool. Who knows? Maybe he did. Maybe he had a real ostrich. If anybody would like to send their answers in on a postcard, it's PO Box, middle of fucking nowhere. Anyway, what else we got here? Yeah, Bernie Clifton had the ostrich. Julie backs me up. Bernie Clifton, Clifton, but they were the same species, so forgiven. The ostrich was right. The ostrich was right. Oh God. Oh God. Bernie Clifton's dressing room. That was the thing. Bernie Clifton's wardrobe. Hello from the US. Says Eric Cheatwood. Hello, Eric. Greetings from the middle of the Midlands somewhere. Where are you in the US? And what brought you here? And I'm really glad to have you here. Oh yeah, Bernie Clifton, like the man in the orthopedic shoe. I stand corrected. Says old school fool. Oh mate, you crack me up. You crack me up. Lenny and it's a big. Oh, it's a wasp. I thought it was a hornet. If it was a hornet, I'd be gone. Lenny and Bernie. Lenny and Bernie. Make sure it's not landed on my back. Lenny and Bernie. Lenny and Bernie. Bernie Winters. Lenny Winters. Bernie Winters. Who was Bernie Winters' brother? Bernie Winters had a brother, didn't he? And he died very young. Who was Bernie Winters' brother? And then Bernie Winters took up, instead of having a double act with his brother, he took up a double act with a dog, Schnorbitz. There's a wasp. I hate wasps. They have no purpose other than to sting people and get in places that they shouldn't be. Yeah. Bernie Clifton. Schnorbitz. But that's it. Mike and Bernie Winters. Mike and Bernie Winters. They were a really good double act. I saw a documentary a few years back now, and on Mike Winters. It was quite interesting. They were huge as well. They were like pier filling, summer season, huge duo in the 50s and 60s. Um, Quite sad what happened. Mind you, a lot of those double acts, it's quite sad. Like a lot of those double acts, is it weird to think like, the days to go back with what I'm going to say Ariston, but it's not Ariston. Ariston. I'm going to go back to what he was saying. If there was the internet back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and we were awarded this much information back then at our fingertips, surely some of those would have been flagged up as mysterious, some of those deaths. And it was always, you ever notice it was double acts? Double acts. Like I think of Dustin G, or I'm thinking of Eric. No, not Eric Morecambe. Yeah, Eric Morecambe. Eric Morecambe, Dustin G, Mike Winters. There's a lot of there's a lot of death in comedy partnerships of old. And if the internet was back then, who knows? Conspiracy theories may have been rife. May have been rife back then of something nefarious going down, possibly. I don't know. Who knows? Not saying that their other half, off them. But it was strange that there seemed to be a lot of deaths of comedy duos in the 80s. There's at least 3 I think of I've mentioned. But anyway. Old School 4 says, Morecambe and Wise reply to, who would you be if you weren't comedians? Eric, Mike and Bernie Winters. Without the likes of Mike and Bernie Winters, you may not have had the likes of Morecambe and Wise, because obviously they wanted to, do things differently, change with the times. It's weird to think that the Morecambe and Wise would be the sort of Pete and Dud, or the Monty Pythons of variety television, but they probably were. They probably were. The 2 Ronnies were in there as well. They changed it around a bit. And the likes of very much the peer comedian duos like Little and Large struggled during the 80s, and obviously their dying gasp, Cannonball in the 80s. But I do think Morecambe and Wise had something special, along with the 2 Ronnies, even though I'm not huge fans of either of them. But I can see what the draw was. I can see the family element, the multi-generational family element that Michael Barrymore still holds today. If anyone knows Michael Barrymore, I've often talked about Michael Barrymore. I often said he was like the multi-generational thing. Like when you're growing up, you watch Strike It Lucky or Strike It Rich, whatever you remember. And you're watching it with your grandparents, you're watching it with your parents, you're watching it with your brothers and sisters, and everyone's watching it. What that children thing he did, What Children Say, or whatever it's called. It was a staple of variety on a Saturday evening, and you watched it with your family. And I think that there are only a very small handful of those entertainers left, and Michael Barrymore is proving it again. The multi-generational thing. You've got 7-year-olds coming up to him on TikTok going, "We love you on TikTok. Mummy, look, this guy's so funny." And then they show it to their mum, and their mum's like, "Oh, yeah, I used to watch this guy on TV." And then, "Oh, your nan likes him as well." Again, it's like this weird thing, this weird thing that you can just reach and then just entire like 3 different generations in an audience. And all of that's dead now. All of that is pretty much dead. I mean, without the likes of Barrymore, I can't think of somebody else that has that appeal anymore. I don't watch telly. I haven't watched telly in 20 years, so I don't know. But I'm pretty sure they're a dying breed. Pretty sure they're a dying breed. And Morecambe and Wise had that as well. They were multi-generational. and very much kept the variety of comedy alive there than most of the others out there. Two Ronnies as well. The two Ronnies. I think they built the two Ronnies were slightly different. They built theirs on going separate a lot more than Morecambe and Wise did. They went separate and did their separate projects. Obviously, Ronnie Barker and Porridge, and Ronnie Corbett and Sorry, but they went their separate ways, but would come back and still keep that variety show alive well into the late 80s, while everyone else just fizzled out like a shit Roman candle. Old school forces, controversial. I won't have Morecambe and Wise dissed. Hold my coat, Judy. I watch Barrymore's YouTube. He still makes me chuckle. I love it, Julie. I think it's lovely. I think it's really nice. I just think it's so wholesome. And sometimes something so wholesome and that twee makes kind of sends shivers down my spine. Like, is there an ulterior motive? Is that whole thing about cynicism and thinking there's there's something else in there, something uncomfortable. None of that. None of that comes in when I watch Barrymore's videos. None of it. I just see him as. I've got a friend who thinks that it's weird, but I've just said, look, what the guy's been through, and regardless of where you stand on any of his past history and the reason why he was, kind of offed from the TV, regardless of any of that, and I don't really look into that stuff. I know about it, but I know that he's never been prosecuted by the police. That's all I know. That's all I know. At the end of the day, the Barrymore, I think he does this as much for himself now in his mental health as he does for the people he's given back to all these years. And I think it's really nice to see. I just think he's a really nice guy. I think he's a very wholesome guy, and I think he's good for feel good stuff. And even when it goes a little bit twee, I'm still never sort of inclined to go, oh, I'll switch that off and watch something depressing. I always watch it to the end and generally feel enlightened by it. So I do like that. The fact that he's moved 12 miles away from where my mum's house is. When I was down in Totnes a couple of weeks ago, I'd known that he'd moved to Salcombe or somewhere outside. No, moved to Kingsbridge, I think it is. And I thought he's doing the rounds. He did Paynton, he did Torquay, he did. And I was thinking, if I go to Totnes, he's probably going to do Totnes. I think at some point, if I do run into him, I will be one of those people that will get my phone out and go, "Hey, Michael, can I get a picture?" Just because it's Michael Barrymore. I saw him, Michael Barrymore, live in 1983, Blackpool North Beach Tower, North Pier, Blackpool North Pier. He was supporting Little and Large. And I don't. This is testing my memory now. Little and Large did a skit on stage where they were pretended to be babies in a giant cot, bouncing up and down on some wires that the stage had. I can't remember much else, but I remember this. And Michael Barrymore was a part of that skit, and he came dressed as a baby. And he had done the warm up stuff, and his act back then was sending people out. Was just like all right, you all right, you all right. And I remember he would send people out. He would say, "Why aren't you clapping? Get out!" And he would kick people out of the audience. Generally, people that weren't in on it would have to leave their loved ones and go outside. And they wouldn't be allowed back in. Somebody did try and come back in, and he would shout, "Get out! Get out!" I remember that. I still remember that act. I must have been 9 when he was doing that. But yeah, if I did see him out in Devon, I certainly would get a selfie. I got fond memories of that, and then right through the 80s, as I said, Strike It Rich and all that stuff. Yeah, bit of a one of the last variety show legends that sustained his own status despite all the drawbacks that he's had. He's retained his status as a people's entertainer, a multi-generational people's entertainer, and he's done it on his own back. That's commendable, whether you like him or not, in this day and age of trends and shite on social media. Corbett was funny and a charismatic man. Barker was almost blank, but may have been England's finest character actor. I agree. Yeah, Corbett was. I just used to love some of their sketches, and I still watch some of their classic Ronnie, the two Ronnie sketches. I still love the ones where they're two farmers by a farmer's field. There's something about something warm and inviting and traditionally British about their comedy. Um, it's just something that fills me with like warmth, comfort. It's definitely nothing there to be. I mean, I liked some of their innuendos. They were big on innuendos, the two Ronnies, and some of them went over my head as a kid. But when I watch some on YouTube sketches, and I think that's a bit close to the bone, like that's a little bit risky, but so subtle and funny. The sorry theme tune, though, Ronnie Hazelhurst was the man. There's a spit and image sketch, old school, full of a Mickey take of Ronnie Hazelhurst's theme tunes. If you type in spit and image, Ronnie Hazelhurst, and I think it's what was he called? The guy who did the South Bank show? Melvin Bragg. Melvin Bragg and Ronnie Hazelhurst. It's him coming up with a new theme tune. It's very funny. I still remember it being very funny. It used to be on one of my spit and image albums that I had as a kid. Very funny. Old School 4 says Robin's Nest 2, classic theme, composed, played by Richard O'Sullivan. Useless trivia fans. Do you remember I saw Richard? I didn't see Richard O'Sullivan, but I was at that show with Robin Asquith and George Layton, and they're big, still very big friends with Richard O'Sullivan. And listening to some of the stories that O'Sullivan got up to, my God, that whole thing about like him putting his member in a empty sausage roll case and walking around the party like with a tray of sausage rolls. I mean, things like that. You just think, wow, what a different time! What a different time! What a different time! Um, I love his walkabouts in Devon, says Judy. Yes, he goes to some really nice places, and he's got a cameraman now as well, so he can get some really nice shots. It is improved, I think, the quality, and I like his long form stuff because I don't do the TikTok thing as much, so it's nice to see something that's like 25 minutes long. But oh my God, the one thing that really rattles me a little bit, it's nothing to do with Michael Barrymore. After me praising him, so it's nothing to do with Michael Barrymore. It's to do with the people that want to get in on a Michael Barrymore vlog because they think it's going to offer them free promotion, and it no doubt does. But he went to a place in Kingsbridge, and I've eaten there. I thought it was a rip-off, like a complete rip-off. It's the Tasty Prawn, I think it was called. It's in Kingsbridge. And I ate there about 4 years ago, and I remember going in there with a friend. There's a basket of prawns, and there was the tiniest little things, and it was like £14. And I remember just being so. I felt like I'd been really shafted, and I didn't like the place, and they wouldn't accept. Um, they wouldn't accept cash. They only accepted card, and I avoid those places now. If I go somewhere, I ask, "Do you accept cash?" They say yes, I eat there. They say no, I walk out. And this place wouldn't accept cash. And I remember just anyway, to cut a long story short, Michael Barrymore went there. They treated him a little bit like they didn't know who he was at first. And then as soon as they realized, the owner was called in, she came down, showed him around, made sure he had a whole new set of food on his table. Didn't have to pay for it. The prawns went from this size, which you could see him eating in one of the shots, to this size. She replaced them, gave him T-shirts, gave him this gift pack, and the hungry prawn, the hungry prawn, the hungry prawn. At the end of the video, he went through all this stuff, just saying their business name over and over again. And I thought, please, Michael, you might not even realize this, but there are people out there that are just grifting off the back of your success. and they're not really your friends. I prefer it when he sticks to the people that he meets randomly in the street who are so happy to see him, as opposed to somebody literally like making a huge amount of money off the back with promoting their business. And that was slightly annoying me. And I saw that a couple of times somewhere, and I've been a bit dubious about that. But anyway, it still doesn't take away the fact this is wonderful to see, wholesome to see Michael Barrymore out and about, meeting his fans. That's my rant over and done with. Warm, Barker was very cold. It's difficult to admit that pre-90s evil telly and its music were often lovely, even some stuff made by the evil big corporation. It does feel like a long time ago, though, mate, doesn't it? It does feel like a long time ago where you weren't being bombarded with agendas and things. It felt, a bit more freer, and you didn't have to tick boxes and stuff and make sure you incorporate this and that and this and that, which changes the everything around, doesn't it? So that seems true. Yes, old school. 70s was peak TV. 70s, I think. 70s, some of the 80s, but you're right, it reached its peak in the 70s. Home to Roost was superbly consistent and tight series. It's hard to find a bad one. Home to Roost. John Four. Is that John Four? And Rhys Dinsdale. If I remember right, I used to love it. I used to love it as a kid in the 80s. Never gone back to it. Never gone back to it. Maybe I should. Maybe I should go back to that. I certainly remember the cast. I remember John Thor being very good and Rhys Dinsdale very good as the son. If I had the money, I'd abuse pastry too, says Old School 4. Said he had a most wistful tune. Was it because we were young that it all dug in so deeply? Shelley. Yeah, that was a little bit before my time of when I was sort of, taking notice of television. But I still remember the theme tune of that. Was it him like walking around crowds by himself or something? I haven't seen that for years, but by the 80s they were chasing format. Yeah. There were the odd few that dripped in, that came in the 80s. I mean, I think the comic strip presents Five Go Mad in Dorset. Some of the earlier Rick Mail, Adrian Edmondson stuff that they did. I'm trying to remember that comic strip that was. I can't remember the name of it now. Mr. What was it called? Young ones, Bottom, for the 90s. Men Behaving Badly for the 90s. I still love Men Behaving Badly. Game On, first series of Game On was magnificent at the 90s. There have been dribs and drabs, but you're right. The 70s were probably the sort of the consistent one. And I think that there were the odd few that came in that have lasted well and held up well in the last 40 years in the 80s. Those ones I just mentioned, maybe in the 90s. Those ones I just mentioned. You are being upstaged by the glorious sunset behind you. That doesn't matter. That's exactly why I've pointed the camera that way, so you can all see it. You don't have to listen to me rambling on. Thanks for being here. Anyway, that is all hands on deck. All hands on deck. All hands on deck. Yes, I am. In fact, I can't even see it. I just go quiet now and I just shut up. Move the tiller as though it's just disappear out of shot. It's going to follow my head, isn't it? It is nice. This is the life. If you haven't experienced life on the canals, cheers. most people are here just for the sunset. I don't blame them. Chris is the sunset. He was also in a show with a bloke from Bread about swashbuckling computer executive. Bread. I used to hate Bread. In fact, I'd go as far as to say I hate most Carla Lane stuff, and I never warmed to Carla Lane's writing. I think Bread may have been the one that I put up with because there was some funny moments in it as a kid, but I've never gone back to Bread. Tried the Liver Birds. Oh, God. Talk about a snooze fest and a... Tell you what, if you don't want to laugh, just watch the Liver Birds. Bread was shit. Yes, Carla Lane. I did. Yeah, you're right. Terrible, terrible, terrible stuff. Terrible, everything I've tried, and I try. I look at old things and I try, but I know what I hate immediately. Like I'm like, no waste of time on that. I could die tomorrow, and this would be the last comedy I watch. I'd rather watch The District Nurse with Nerys Hughes. If you were here the other night, there was cows in this field. They were all here, and they were all looking at my yellow and black boat. They were all just eating grass, chilling out, looking at me. I wasn't sitting here. I was sitting on the towpath for a bit. But I haven't seen the cows in the field for 2 days now, so I did notice they needed to be milked. So I thought that maybe they've gone in to get milked. But it was nice to have the cows here. Get the odd toad that jumps from the towpath into the water. You can hear the splash. Haven't seen any rats, although I have seen rats in the past, but not so much. They're more around areas where there's more humans, so feeding off of our waste. So there hasn't been many of those, but a few toads have been jumping into the water. A few fish bite every so often, pop up. Say a family of ducks with 4 ducklings go past every day, and I've been feeding them for the last 2 days. So they were literally just an hour before I started the stream. They went past and sort of stopped by the boat. I was like, "You're back. You remember? You remember yesterday when I gave you some food? Here's some more. I'll see you tomorrow." Yeah. Julie, I think she did write Butterflies with the young Nicholas Lyndhurst. I'm pretty sure that was Carla Lane as well, yes. So again, like I remember it being on Wendy Craig as the mother. So that got Jeffrey Palmer in it, because I love Jeffrey Palmer. I think that had Jeffrey Palmer as the father, wasn't it? He's always just that straight-faced comedian actor that I've always loved. I didn't enjoy it as much going back to it. It was the thing he did with Judi Dench. As time goes by, I liked it in the 90s when it was on. It was safe, a bit like Open All Hours. It had this safeness about it of the 80s. Wonderful and charming and thoughtful and loving. and some funny moments in it. But I must admit, a couple of years ago, I tried to get back into it, and I couldn't get back into it. I couldn't get. I think it didn't date well as time goes by. But I love Jeffrey Palmer. I love Jeffrey Palmer. I love him in the film Clockwise. I love that film Clockwise. I want that in 4K. If anyone who wants to gift me the 4K UHD of John Cleese's 1985 seminal classic Clockwise, I've told myself I'm not buying any more Blu-rays for the next 6 months while I'm trying to keep the money together, live as cheap as possible. Bloody Starlink, 96 quid a month. Another great theme tune. Don't remember the theme tune to Butterflies. The cut looks wondrous, mate. Thanks, mate. It is. It's lovely, and I'm glad you get to see it as well. It's a nice night. It's bloody cold though. It's bloody cold. I'm literally like, my hands are freezing. I've got this jumper on and a pair of jeans. If I was in my shorts now, I'd be. So earlier on, it was 23 degrees today, 22, 23. It was really, really warm. It was lovely. Shorts and a t-shirt, but God, I'm glad I put this jumper on and jeans on. I remember watching Butterflies as a kid. Claire Torrey's version of Love is Like a Butterfly was good. Love is like a butterfly. Okay. I had a weird liking for Time Goes By. I think it was of its time. As I said, there's something so charming about it, something so comforting in that. I remember watching that with my girlfriend. Like it was Sunday nights, if I remember. It used to go out at like 7:45 to 8:15, something like that. It was a weird time. It was on a Sunday night, and I remember enjoying watching it with my girlfriend. The two of us was a cute show, not brilliant, but zingy and comfy. I probably could still. I mean, I could still take the stream in, but I'd be sitting inside. But it's takes me a while to sort of set things up, so I'll probably just end it here. I have been on for. I did say I was going to stream until the sun went down, so it has gone down. We're just going to get a little bit of the red sky. Give it another 5 minutes, and I'll go in. The two of us. Janet Dibley and Nicholas Lyndhurst. Janet Dibley? Was that her name? Janet Dibley? Used to have a bit of a crush on her when I was a kid. I don't know, what's that bird? That was a pigeon. If you're out here in the summer, and these are my. Do you know what my favourite nights are on the back of this boat? June, next month, July. When it's like this, it's about the sun's going down. It will be about 9:30, something like that. And you're still on the back of your boat, and it's still about 25 degrees, so it's still warm, and it just goes enough so you can see the darkness and the shadows become more prominent, but the bats come out, and I adore bats. I love bats, and they come out, and what I do, actually, I don't know whether this annoys them, but what I do is I make really high-pitched squeaky noises with my teeth. And they sometimes like fly really low down towards me and sort of like go over the top of my head. I'll turn around and I'll make that sound again, and they come back down. And they swoop down over the boat. I love it. They're silent, and a little furry. Anyone who's scared of bats, I never really understand. They're the cutest little things. They have very nasty, nippy teeth, but they're so adorable. And I swear I'm communicating to them with this high pitched thing. They're just like flying around the boat for 10 minutes. It's brilliant. I love that. I love bats. But yeah, there's been a few. I've seen the bats out. Like, they won't be out just yet. They'll probably, and if I won't be here, but another 30 minutes, you will get some bats fly over the boat. I think I'm going to have to call it because my hands are really, really quite cold now. And it is a bit chilly. So I'll tell you what I'll do. Give me 2 minutes. I'm going to put my coffee machine on. I'm going to make myself a hot cup of coffee. I'm going to leave this on for 5 more minutes. I'll come back to end it in a second. I'll just let you with the sunset just for a bit longer. Oh, talk amongst yourselves. Put the coffee. Make myself a nice hot cup of coffee. That's a cocoa, I think, this time of night. Do I miss much? Jacket on. I don't like that rugby shirt. Annie's too tall. Talk amongst yourselves. Bless you, mate. Could have a new career as a bat whisperer. Bats are ace. Don't like the ones that turn into Dracula though. Can't be alone in that. I'm reading them backwards. Keeps asking me questions and this and that. Film and video stock of the very late 70s to mid 80s had the comforting zing and by the mixing of film sequences amongst video. 1 hour and 45 minutes. This is probably my longest stream in a year. So that's how we like being at the geese, where they do that thing, where they just like take off. And have you ever, I don't know whether you know this, but I've learned something that geese love to fly. I should look up that. That geese love to fly because when they take off, they make a lot of noise and then they're flying and they're flying and they're so happy that they're flying and not on the ground anymore that they continue to make that noise all the way to the distance. Very, very odd. Very odd. I'd have to be interested for another couple of minutes. My foot did slip into the canal today, so I was drying my socks. I'm not going to wear them again because one of them has been into the canal. Which one? The one on the left, the one on the right. Which sock has been in the canal? You choose. Either way, I have to dry them out, so I was like, I'll put them in my clothes, my washing bag. And also, the DM shoes that I have, they are huge. They are size 14s. Look at those feet. Hold them up, look at that. That's a big foot. I need new DMs. They're falling apart now. I've had them 4 years. Just can't afford 145 quid for a new pair. So if anyone's out there would like to donate to the channel, buy me a pair of Dr. Martens shoes. It'd be great. Cost a bloody fortune being big-footed like I am. Who is your very best friend? Geese used to fly over my house in Essex. Used to be able to set your watch by them. I think they progress as the nights get longer. Their pattern slightly changes, but you're right, you do hear them. If I could fly, I think I'd make that noise too. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, I get me. Yeah, that's probably what they're saying in English terms. I can't believe I'm off the ground. Who's your best friend? I don't really have a best friend. I have close friends. I know who my closest friends are. I don't really have a bestie. I used to have a bestie back when I was probably 14, but I don't really consider best friends. But I've got a close group of friends that I rely on. I can rely on and enjoy engaging with on a regular occasions. So. Old school full. If you did fall off the boat, how long could you survive underwater? Me and Julie have got a bet on. She reckons 2 minutes, but I think a good hour. So before you go. Well, as I said, it's not that deep in the canals. I'd probably get hypothermia. It would just be up to here, and I would be in the middle of the canal, and I'd be looking around me like this in the middle of the canal. I'd probably get hypothermia within an hour. Probably within an hour. So I'd say above water with my head above the water in the middle of the canal, about an hour at this particular time of the year, I would get hypothermia, definitely. Breathing underwater, which is what you asked. If I had to breathe underwater in this canal water, I'd probably say less than a minute. Oh my God. Oh, what a horrible thought. Oh, you'd have to be a pretty shit swimmer to die in a canal. Yeah, the thing that would get you in a canal would probably be your foot trapped on a shopping trolley. And I don't know whether you could drown that way if you weren't a swimmer and you were 5'1" and your foot got say you fell in. You're a 5'1". I don't no disrespect to female, 5'1" female with high heels, and you fell in the canal, and one of your heels got trapped inside a disused old Safeway trolley from 1989, which I've seen one, and you weren't able to free your high heel or your shoe. Then you could drown. You definitely could drown, but you'd have those circumstances are few and far between. Thankfully, few and far between. Definitely no breakdancing at old school full. Definitely no breakdancing. Definitely not. Right, I am going. The sun has gone. Let me take you off the. Hold on a second. It should. Oh no, it's not going to stay. You're going to get to see a little bit more of the canal as I turn the gimbal around, around and around and around and around and around and around. There we go. Now you're off. See, there's my. That's why I have that. It's a very cool tripod that wraps around things, i.e. the tiller, and I can. It's called a gorilla pod. Yeah, you see, and that's what the gimbal is attached to. That goes inside with me. And then this is the Insta 360 gimbal, Insta Flow gimbal. There we go. There we go. How far can I walk before the connection goes? So that, as you can see, there's no one that moors. No one's mooring around me. You go around that corner there. There's a bridge. I'd say the bridge is probably 10-minute walk around there, and then there's a farm road, and then I go past that bridge another 10 minutes, so 20 minutes I'll get to a B road. That's that way. And then this way is the same thing. The bridges are all farm bridges, so they're not accessible by the road. So it is kind of in the sticks, well in the sticks. There we go. There's the sun one last time. Okay, lovies, nice to catch up this evening. Julie, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. I'm glad of everyone coming in and saying hello. It was lovely to talk to people. As you can see, I'm leading a little bit of a sheltered life right now, so it's nice to be social. So I appreciate that. Lovely talking to all of you. Thank you, Ariston. I'm going to keep calling you Ariston. Thank you, mate. That was a really nice of you to join, and some great comments there. Love reading them. Okay, lovely. It's nice to catch up this evening. You too, Julie. Thanks all. Been a pleasure, bro. Old school fool. You're a legend, mate. That's all. That's all I'm going to say there. You're a legend. Thanks for all the stuff, Night. Wonderful, and wonderful to have you in. All hands on deck. All hands on deck. You don't have a boat, do you? Because that's a very naval saying, isn't it? All hands on deck. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? Look at that. And thanks to my mate as well, who popped in, my good friend Anarin. So it was lovely to have you interacting with everyone. Really nice, mate. Thanks for that. All hands on deck. No. Wings, no. Well, thanks for being here, mate. It was lovely to read your comments. And yeah, everyone, have a lovely time. I won't leave it as long. I won't leave it 6 months for the next live stream. But we'll all be in touch, and let's keep the community alive on the old YouTube channel. So I'll catch you all very soon. me thinking around. Bye, everyone. When I can stop the stream. Try and work out how to do it in widescreen. Sorry, landscape mode next time.